Hello and welcome to the Denver Homes Market Report. This is your host, Ricky Schoonover of 8Z Real Estate. And welcome to Season 4, Episode 10. Did I say that right? Episode 10? My goodness. We are only 2 episodes from diving into our 5th season here with Denver's monthly real estate podcast. I sure hope you're enjoying the Denver Homes Market Report at least half as much as I enjoy writing, recording, producing, and distributing this show. It's all for you. None of this is AI. There's no editing. This is just me behind a pretty basic microphone, providing you with real world news, all based right here, all the real estate news in and around the Mile High City. You can catch up with us pretty much on any platform that you currently use for your podcasts. We're on TuneIn, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, Google Podcasts. You can even ask your smart speaker, play podcast, the Denver Homes Market Report. It usually pop up there. And then my YouTube channel, it's kind of blowing up lately. My goodness, I just checked and there's over 125 subscribers. So thank you out there if you're a subscriber to my YouTube channel. The YouTube is a bit tricky to find the podcasts. It's not really a podcast platform, but that's pretty much all my channel is all about. So if you look for me on YouTube, make sure if you're through Denver Homes Market Report, you also type in podcast. And you guessed it, my channel is easy to find. Like I said, my podcast, my Google My Business page, just like my website. I am Denver Homes Market. So please find my show on your preferred platform. And if I'm not on there, call me. Let me know where you want us, and I will do my best to create that relationship so you can hear the show when and wherever you want to listen. So my cell phone number, in case you want to reach out to me, 720-688-5110. And like I said, if there's a platform out there and we're not there yet, and you take the time to reach out to me and request it, I'm for sure going to do my best to make that happen for us. Okay, so today's show, let's jump right in. You may notice I'm a day late. Shh, don't tell anyone. It's Friday. It's First Friday, so come on down to the Arts District here in the Arts District on Santa Fe and check out Smart Work tonight later on. But I was on a webinar last night, and I even toyed with the idea of just recording that live and then putting it on my podcast. However, I had clients on the call, and I had potential clients on the webinar as well, and I wasn't quite sure how that was going to work. And quite frankly, it's just not my podcast format. So today, we're going to kind of piggyback on last night's webinar and present a lot of that info here today. If you've listened for the last few months, the last one was all about full market value and what that meant to you as a buyer and what that meant to you as a seller. And then episode 8, going back a little further, how sellers are kicking buyers out of the pool. We're going to touch on that again today and a little bit different angle. The month prior was all about some sellers. Recently they'd heard that you're not required to pay the buyer's representation. So they are leaving it blank, when they list their home, which has some serious, potentially negative effects, with maybe their home not selling at all because no one's really looking at it, or maybe it sells, but it's a limited market that can afford it. And so did they get full market value? And the thing is, if it sells, they'll never really know how much money they left on the table because they didn't market it to the full market, to its full potential. So today I figured out why not kind of tie this all into one show, just kind of like we did last night. I do want to give a shout out to Heina. She's a client of mine. She won the free tickets. We'll be getting her home ready for market, and she's going to be heading to the Nuggets game on Sunday. Well, I'm busy at her loft making sure we're ready for our photo shoot next week. So let's get into something here. Let's talk about the lawsuits. I've brought them up before. You've probably heard about them, but in case you've missed it, these are class action type lawsuits. This is with the National Association of Realtors. It's not mesothelioma or the other one with the firefighting stuff from the military. No, this one's for National Association of Realtors. There's a bunch of these things out there. Anyway, I haven't really seen any real policy change over these. And until they do all the legal stuff and the appeals processes and blah, 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 we probably won't see much change. However, there is a practice that's sort of being done right now. Not sort of, it is. And I can see how it really might make a seller feel good, right? It kind of gives them that sensation of I'm sticking it to the man mentality, so to speak, by listing their homes and not ensuring that their listing brokerage is also offering a cooperation percentage to the brokerage who brings the buyer or buyer's representation. So let's talk about this. Right now, and actually for quite a long time, the way the contract is written, at least here in Colorado, there's a section in the listing agreement. The commissions are detailed out in section 7. And as everyone's well aware, no professional works for free. I mean, not even nonprofits, quote unquote nonprofits, do not typically work for free. I mean, nonprofits, they may have more volunteers who help out and support their cause, but all you really need to do is go onto Google and Google the salaries of some of these nonprofit CEOs, and someone's getting paid in the vast majority of these cases. And then, of course, your attorney's getting paid, you're a doctor, your tax professional, your mortgage brokers, your hairstylist, all for sure getting paid. Even if you don't see the money, like the attorney, they keep the retainer, right? Little piggy bank retainer that you keep filling in, or the doctor who goes through the insurance, or your tax person who will prepare your taxes and then they pull their fees out when you get your return back, before you get it, of course. You know, whatever the case, the professionals you choose to do business with or receive services from are getting paid, full stop. Now, the way it works with realtors, and it's been this way for as long as I've been in real estate, you call your realtor, you list your home, you agree to a listing agreement, and in that agreement, in our case, Section 7, it's actually called the exclusive right to sell listing contract. That's the official name. We just typically say listing agreement. But this is where all the details of your listing will go. Contracts have a start date, they have an end date, and then during that time period, there are a whole host of duties that your real estate professional or your realtor will be required to perform on your behalf or on at your request. Okay, let's take a stop here just for a second. I want to clear this up real quick. You know, realtor or real estate professional, which one gets a license through the state? Right, it's both, right? We all take some courses, we take a state exam, we get our fingerprints done, we get a background check done, you know, all that stuff. It doesn't matter if you're a realtor or a real estate professional. So a way to think of it is all realtors are real estate professionals. However, not all real estate professionals are realtors. We're not required to be part of the Association of Realtors. It's just kind of a strength in numbers. They do a lot of work with legislature and that stuff, like affordable housing and things like that. So it's one of those things that we can support. But what sets us apart as far as the realtor designation apart is a few things. I mean, obviously we belong to the association. This is an organization where we pay in and we agree to abide by a code of ethics. We take additional classes so we can stay up on the latest ethics standards, and we pay our dues, which in turn allows us to use the realtor designation. So whether I say in today's podcast or anytime, whether I say realtor or real estate professionals, I'm really referring to everyone who holds a real estate license. Okay, now let's get back on topic here. Where was I? Oh yeah, Section 7 of our listing agreement, the commissions. In this section, there's a place to enter how much commission the seller is willing to pay the listing brokerage to market and sell their home. Then right below that, there's a section 1.7.1.1. It has a space to detail and show your seller how much of that commission will be provided to an outside brokerage to represent the buyer who ultimately buys your home. And these commissions they're indeed negotiable. It doesn't mean the listing brokerage has any requirement to negotiate. I mean, I typically charge 6%, but there are situations where I charge 7%. There are situations where I charge less. And actually for the 7%, I have a perfect example because I'm working on a listing right now, and the house is full of household goods like old furniture and other stuff that's going to need to go into a huge trash bin, maybe multiple trash bins. Then there are some repairs to be made before the home is really anywhere close to full market value. And the seller moved away years ago. They'd had it rented out. They live out of state. So I'm taking on the role of helping coordinate all the workers, making sure all the work gets done properly. And here's the kicker. I have a really cool program. It's specifically designed for sellers just like this. They are provided up to $20,000 up front to pay all those workers, and they don't need to pay it back until the home sells. Now, there's stopgaps in place. I mean, the home has to be sold, or at some point, the money will have to be paid back somehow. However, the idea is to get the home ready for market, get it sold. During the process of it being sold, the money gets paid back as the seller closes and gets the proceeds from the sale. Now, the money's not free. There's a $1,000 admin fee that gets added, and then there's a 1% of the final sales price that's allotted in the commissions, because there's a ton of work to be done and managed before we ever even get to the market. And that requires time and coordination between the various contractors. And in order to get them paid as the work gets done, there's some legal and some IRS type documentation that also has to be coordinated throughout the process. And I'm the one that takes care of much of that with my team. Think of it like building a house or even building a garage. You hire a general contractor who manages the coordination of all the trades, and that GC is getting paid. Whether you're paying them directly or they're handing you invoices as the work gets done and you're paying it that way. This is the same principle. However, you do not have $20,000 and you do not want to lose 40% of your home's value to a flipper. So this $20,000 up front costs you only $1,000 and 1% of the final sales price. And the idea is you don't have to pay it back until you get your home sold. That's the ideal situation. So my client now lives out of state. They never really need to travel. They don't need to worry if the work is getting done or not or who to schedule. All they need to really do is wait for the home to come to market, accept an offer, sign the disclosures in the deed and work through the contract, and then wait for their proceeds to land in their bank account. So minus the cost involved with selling, which in this case includes that $1,000 fee and the related costs, such as title work and state transfer fees, taxes, prorations, commissions. This is way better than selling the home off to some sort of iBuyer program, especially when you know the home is a great home and that it simply has fallen into some disrepairs that needs some sprucing up, and that can be accomplished for $20,000 or less. This is the perfect program for this client and this house. So this is 8Z Real Estate's listing concierge program, and it's awesome. Now, if you have $20,000 laying around and you don't need money from the program, then of course you can choose not to use this program and just spruce up the house on your own, save yourself some fees and commissions. That's great. However, if you need upfront cash, and once your home is spruced up, you're very likely to make a better return on your investment, then absolutely this is a great program. You'll likely do much better with this rather than selling your home off to one of those iBuyer type programs where they basically deeply undercut you as a seller. Then they don't do anything to the house. They just jack up the price, do nothing except sell it then to the actual flipper who does the work. Well, you hope they do the work. And then they end up putting it on the market and selling it. So there's a great pitch for my listing concierge program. I wasn't planning on that, but there you go. If you know of someone that needs some upfront cash and some cosmetic repairs to maximize their investment as they're getting ready to sell their home, maybe that person's you. So give me a call and let's see if it's a good fit. My number, 720-688-5110. And bottom line, the commissions are negotiable because each deal has different circumstances. Same with buyer's representation. It really comes down to competition. If you're trying to get full market value for your home and then you're refusing to pay for that buyer's representation, they may not even be able to afford your home. Will your home sell? Probably, but not to those buyers who are going to have to cough up the buyer brokerage side of commissions and weren't able to afford it. That can end up being tens of thousands of dollars. And here's the worst part. The buyer cannot just roll it into their loan because it's outside the listing contract. This is additional cold hard cash on top of the costs like inspections, title work, mortgage loans, etc. Think back to when you bought your home. How much extra cash did you have laying around? I mean, it's a pretty expensive investment to buy a property. So bottom line, if a seller does not offer a cooperation fee to the brokerage who brings the buyer, they could be limiting who can afford to buy their home. And then look at the home down the street who is offering the cooperation fee. It's all part of the deal, which makes their home more affordable to more people. And they end up with multiple offers and they sell their home quickly. And lo and behold, they had multiple offers with buyers competing and they made much more money in the end while the non-co-op house is still sitting there. The seller's getting frustrated, still paying their taxes, still paying their mortgage payments, been 60, 90 days now, and a moving truck pulls up with the new buyers who actually wanted to buy their house first. That was their favorite house. But the additional $19,000 upfront that you were quote unquote sticking it to the man with caused them not to be able to afford your house. And so they bought the house down the street instead because the commissions were already in the deal. On that note, we are going to close out today's podcast. I really appreciate you listening to the Denver Homes Market Report. This is your local Denver realtor and host of this show, Ricky.schoonover of 8Z Real Estate. I hope you found today's episode informative, kind of tongue-in-cheek, but on a very serious current topic. those zero co-op listings, they are out there today. I've already looked at them. We looked at them last night. And the only way that you can tell, as far as I know, the only way you can tell is by calling a realtor, because they're not posted on the public remarks. They're only in the confidential remarks. So if you're looking at a house online and you're not sure if it's a co-op house or if it's a non-co-op house, and I don't even know if that's a term yet, but if the co-op commission is included in the deal or it's not, there's no way to tell. Just give me a call. If you don't have a realtor you already trust, give me a call, 720-688-5110. I'll let you know if the house you're looking at online has a co-op built into the deal or if you're going to be stuck paying that out of pocket. I hope you'll tune in next month.